Sorry.
Okay, looks like everybody joined, so we can start today's weekly meeting devoted for the MSI. So I will share my screen. And as usual, we go to the MSI roadmap. So during the current week, we were working on two stories, on Reservation API and append-only reservations. And another story was new indexing of inventory and creating virtual aggregation stock items based on the linkage rules. So the first story for the reservation, we've made some design changes in the scope of this story. Also, we had a meeting with the lead architect of Magento 2 with Anton Krill, and I made a demo for him, and he approved our way of making the reservation. And also, we had a meeting with Alessandro, who is working on this this story, and we've made some changes to how the reservation interface should look like. Actually, we removed the status from the reservation and introduced the metadata. And we decided that we would not expose Reservation API via Web API. So we would consider the reservation as an SPI entity which will happen as a side effect of some particular business process like order placement or the return handling. And we made changes for the reservation services. So we left as this reservation append service, and we changed service. So we had a service which returns the open reservation for the product, but now we decided to remove it and just to provide two services which will provide the ability to get the precise quantity of some particular product in some particular stock.
Igor,
yeah?
Sorry, you forget the capturing.
Looks like I'm capturing. So at least I see the recording.
Okay. Sorry, but usually it is shown also on my PC.
I see recording.
Yeah. So looks like recording is working. Okay, so let's continue. So for now, we decided to have just two services which will provide the precise amount of some particular product. And also we decided, so having a conversation with Anton Krill, we decided not to put stock item entity inside the product interface, as it is implemented actually now. So for now in Magento 2, we have the product interface and the stock item now added to this interface and could be retrieved as an extension attribute of the product. But for now, we see that actually this entity, like stock entity and the product entity, belong to different bounded contexts. So it makes sense not to inject knowledge about the about stock into the product interface. So we will agree with Anton Krill that we will have two different services, like get product quantity in stock and is product in stock, which will the first one which will provide the quantity of the product for product in some particular stock, Another service will just respond whether the product is in stock or out of stock. So that was the changes we decided to make during this week for the reservation. And maybe there are some updates regarding this story. So maybe Alessandra will share some updates regarding this story.
I will work on discussed changes from the end of the call on. So I'll try to provide the new interface on Monday.
Okay, cool.
I've read all the changes, and it's basically what we discussed about in our call.
Okay, cool. So another story. Another story was devoted for the MSI stock indexing mechanism, and where we want to make and prepare this new aggregation for the stock items. And here we, because we're going to introduce a new index, and this index should be pretty complex because it should be splitted by the dimension. And in our case, dimension should be stock IDs. So, for example, if there are like 3 different stocks, in our case, our indexation will end up with creation of 3 different tables. Each of the tables would be responsible for specific stock ID. So it's pretty similar to what we have in the catalog search index. So doing so, we want to get the possibility of the horizontal scalability when we will create as many stock indexes as our system has. And doing so, we would not end up with one really huge overloaded index, and where which would not be processed, and we will start with a performance problem on the level of the database, for example. And it's pretty, so we stuck with some problems we have on a in this dimensional logic. And also because the current implementation for the whole indexer is supposed to provide the 0 downtime when there is a full indexation in process. So we need to provide a new index, temporary index, for the time when we're making the whole reindexation. So when we're making the whole reindexation, and after the process of reindexation is finished, we need to switch this index with index switcher to just substitute. So it would be useful when the whole reindexation takes quite a lot of time. So, for example, for big merchants, it could take minutes or even sometimes hours. That's why we need to provide a temporary index to make it possible the old index to be available, to prevent all the site users to be affected with this reindexation process. So we stuck with the problem that for now all the possibility of making index switcher now is coupled to the catalog module, and if you would like to implement this index switching mechanism, we need to be coupled to the catalog. So today I had a discussion with one of the architects who designed that mechanism, and also I raised that question in our architectural council meeting. So I believe we will get some response in a shortest time. what is the best way, how can we arrange that problem. But for now, I believe we will make a copy paste of what we have to not postpone our work and not to be blocked by these external circumstances. So, and Lars is working on this reindexation story. So Lars, do you have any updates regarding this story to share with us?
Yes. On Tuesday, I starting with the implementation and the testing of the implementation. I use integration tests first time. Yeah, but it's work in progress. I already copied the logic for switching, but I need also the fixtures for testing the switching, because the process is really complex and you have many different index states, and it's work in progress.
Mm-hmm. So in any case, you can ask anytime me or Valery, so we will help you to make your work as smooth as possible. So
Yes.
Also we've provided documentation for the pull request. We accepted along the current week, and I will share my screen. Oh, I'm sharing the screen. Yeah. So we provided the documentation for the validation mechanism we introduced for the domain entities. And so here you see this article I just shared just before the meeting was started. So because we introduced some new, it's not a new principle, but a little bit new approach comparing to what we already have in Magento 2 regarding the entities validation.
Igor, you're not sharing your screen anymore if you were trying to show something.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, so we shared the article like validation of domain entities in Magento and describe why the entity should be validated, where it makes sense to validate these entities, and how actually entities are beyond validated in the Magento MSI project. So here we describe the validation result, validation exception we introduce, and for example, description of how the source entity, which use the save command under the hood, and actually how the validation mechanism happens. So for now, we provide an ability to return several validation errors, which could be really handy for the form validation when we need to highlight several fields which should be corrected, for example, to proceed with an operation. So here we describe what actually interface we introduced, and actually the our pattern we use here is pretty well known in the domain-driven design world, which is called execute can execute pattern. So here you can see how it's implemented in our case. So we have a composite object, which is called validation chain, and all the validators added to this object. And after that, this object is responsible for running all the validation for the object provided. And all of that are configurable through the DI. So here you can see how the different validators could be specified for different fields, for example. And like for name, postcode, country, career links. So, and if you have any feedbacks, so feel free to ask question or share your feedbacks. That's all regarding the validation.
Is this already merged in the dev master?
Yeah, that's already merged to our develop branch. So you can see that in a code base of the MSI branch. Yeah.
Cool.
Today on a call is Mark Brinton, who is product owner of the project. But sorry, Mark, we don't have anything to show you to be accepted because 2 stories are still in progress.
Sure.
I hope that next weekly demo would be more productive and we will close one of the story.
Great.
Yeah, and Valery just remind me to say you pretty important status. So we made a merge of the develop branch of the current develop branch of Magento, and we updated the PHP unit version to the 6.2, and actually we updated all the unit tests we have on a project to the latest version. So for now, actually that was the last step which we need to make on a way for using PHP 7 syntax. So for now we can use PHP 7 syntax, we can use the return types, and we can use the type hinting for the simple types. And we already have 1 ticket up for grabs for fixing all our service contract in a way to add the return types and the scalar type hinting. So maybe somebody want to grab the ticket? I believe.
After my task, if I finish my indexing task, I will write some tests and I will fix the tasks for that. Oh, this is Stefan.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you. So you're
Nice
coming. I guess your guys are coming to the Oktoberfest.
Yep. We're going to come.
I don't hear you anywhere, but we see you there.
Yeah. So just more optimistic attitude. So not if, but when you will finish your story. So okay. So we will reserve this ticket for you if you are interested. Okay, guys. Do you have any open question regarding the project or architecture or any other question regarding the MSI we have?
I have a question, Igor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's related to the new the 2 new services on the reservation side that are the get product quantity in stock and the is product in stock. Mm-hmm. Just a confirmation that executing that service, I should take into consideration the in-stock status. And if yes, in both of the methods, so even in the get product quantity in stock or only in the is product in stock? Because the get product quantity to me can be unaware of the status. Meanwhile, the is product in stock could be aware of that, but I'm not sure. So I ask you. You know that in the stock item we have the is in stock flag. Mm-hmm. That means that even if I have some quantity of a product, that doesn't mean that it is saleable.
Yeah, of course.
So when I expose salability, no, sorry, when I implement the is product in stock, and I'm supposed to count the stock quantities and removing the reservations. Should I take into consideration also the is in stock flag for the stock item, or is it something that is passed by? So this is the topic I'm not sure about at the moment.
Okay, so let me rephrase your question. So you asking, so we have the service, we have a dedicated service which returns the is product in stock. So the question is whether we need to take into consideration all the open reservation, or should we just use the flag which is stored in our stock item? And because we already have the stock item flag which represents whether it's in stock or not, but for example, it could be in stock, but we already, because of, for example, the latency, we've got several reservations, and now our product became out of stock because if you will apply all that reservation, correct?
Yes, I mean, if the product is out of stock, the result of that call should be that the product is out of stock independently from the number of reservations that I have.
Correct.
And okay, but see, okay, and this is clear in the is product in stock service, but in the get product quantity in stock, I'm not sure that this flag should be considered.
Yeah.
Because semantically speaking, I'm asking how much of. I don't know if this is intended to count or not the stock flag. If this can be used to determine salability or not. If it's used to determine salability, I have to consider the is in stock flag for sure. If not, I can ignore the flag. So.
Yeah. So here we have two conditions. So the first one, if we already have the flag turned into out of stock, so we don't need to consider any reservation. We just return this out of stock.
Okay.
But if we have this flag as in stock, we need to get the quantity and apply all the reservation and check whether we have.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Clear. So in both services, I will apply this logic. Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No, for me not.
Okay, if there are no other questions, looks like we can finish this meeting. And feel free not to wait a week for another meeting. Just don't hesitate to contact us anytime or ask question in chat. And see you soon, guys. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.